Welcome to Modular Learning. I will demonstrate how to configure a wireless network with multiple wireless VLANs using wireless controller in Packet Tracer in this video. 4 networks. In this demonstration, the wireless VLAN 10 for instructor, wireless VLAN 20 for guests, and the management VLAN 100 for the switch and the lightweight access point. And another network that is created for the servers and the wireless controller. And the instructor VLAN will be using the WPA2 Enterprise that requires a radio server. The guests VLAN will be using WPA2 pre-shared key. Some infrastructure already configured. This is access layer switch 1, 3 VLANs, and the distribution layer switch provide the inter-VLAN routing between VLAN 10, 20, and 100. Also enable access to the servers and wireless controller. Access layer switch 1, I have VLAN 10 instructor VLAN, 20 guest VLAN, 100 that is management VLAN created on this access layer switch. Lightweight access point needs to connect it to the access layer switch. This port F01 on the switch must be a trunk. And also the lightweight access point will need the IP address received from this management VLAN 100. And in order to support multiple wireless VLANs, this management VLAN needs to be configured as native VLAN over this link. So let's do it. First, VLAN 100, that is management VLAN, name it management VLAN. And there are 2 ports, F01 and F03, both needs to be trunk in order to support the multiple VLAN traffic going up and down. Interface, F01, switch port, mode trunk, and also must configure switch port trunk native 100. So once this is configured, I have already configured switch port F03 the same way. So let's check the result. Interface trunk. Now we can see 2 trunks. 01 trunk, which is connected to access point, native VLAN 100. 3, the same. Okay, then we have the VLAN created 3 VLANs, trunks ready. On the distribution layer switch, same thing. I have already created the VLANs, show VLAN. I have VLAN 10, 20, 100, plus the server and the wireless controller VLAN, VLAN 200. IP routing. Once this is done, I also need to configure IP address on SBIs for the 4 VLANs, VLAN 10, 20, 100, and 200. I have those 4 SBIs configured with IP address. So those are the default gateway for each VLAN on this distribution layer switch. So inter-VLAN routing is enabled, configured. If I check the routing table, so we can see the routing table has 4 networks ready, just to show you the management VLAN for access layer switch 1 is VLAN 100. IP address is 100.2. So let's add default gateway IP default gateway 172.16.100.1. Okay, because switch 2 is only created for one network, which is VLAN 200. This link from distribution layer switch to this access layer switch only need to configure as access link. I need to assign this port 1, so interface F01, assign this port on VLAN 200. So switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 200. I'm going to configure access layer switch 2, the same VLAN member of 200. VLAN 200 created. Interface F01. This port is access port to VLAN 200. Okay, so this is a network accessing VLAN 200, and this switch, I give it a management IP address on this same VLAN 200. IP address 172.16.200.2. Need the default gateway as well. 172.16.200.1 is the default gateway. Okay, interface range. Put 0/5 all the way to 10. Those ports, put them in the access mode. So switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 200. Okay, for multiple VLAN wireless network. In order to demonstrate the entire configuration procedure for wireless controller, I deleted the previous one, and let's add a new one. Wireless controller, we will be using 3504. And so simply configure the name, controller 1, the wireless controller to switch port 6, which I have already configured port 6 on VLAN 200. So that is the connection. Once we connect it, the wireless controller by default would have IP address 192.168.1.1/28. So I needed to configure PC in the same subnet in order to do the initial configuration. So I'm going to change PC's IP address to 192.168.1.10 subnet mask 240. Those default gateway I don't need to change. So it's done. Go to the prompt, double check. It is 192.168.1.10. Now I should be able to ping the controller 192.168.1.1. Good. Now I'm going to use the browser. We are supposed to use HTTP, not HTTPS for initial configuration. Use HTTP Now they are talking, and it takes a while. While we are waiting, we're gonna configure the DHCP server as well. DHCP server need 3 DHCP pools, one for VLAN 10, second for VLAN 20, third for access point management VLAN, VLAN 100. So let's go do this. Okay, so configure the DHCP server first. Basically, we need to go to the service, DHCP, create 3 pools, which I have already created. The first pool, you can see here, that is the server pool for VLAN 100, 192.168.101 is the default gateway for this management VLAN. The first IP address from the pool is 100.5, and the wireless controller will have the IP address 172.16.200.100. That is the wireless controller. And the same, create another pool for wireless LAN 10. 172.16.10.1 is the default gateway for this. And the DNS server is 100.200. Starting IP for this VLAN is 172.16.10.5. And the maximum number of users in each wireless LAN is 50. Wireless controller address is the same, 172.16.200.100. And the third pool is for wireless VLAN 20. Network is 172.16.20.0. Okay, 3 DHCP pools are created. I also need to configure the radius server, AAA, service on, port number 1812, and the client, the wireless controller. And the IP address of the controller is 172.16.200.100. Type is radius server. This is the security password, the key. Okay, the server is all set. Now, we just need to initialize the wireless controller. Now, the GUI is ready. So we're going to do the initial configuration. First, create the admin username and the password. Cisco 123. Confirm. Start. And here we needed to configure some detail about this wireless controller. The system name and management IP is 172.16.200.100. And the assembly mask, default gateway, 200.1, the VLAN ID, 200. Server and the wireless controller network is VLAN 200. Network name is the instructor. That is the wireless network I want to configure using the radius server as authentication server. So I'm going to enter here, instructor. The security authentication use the WPA2 Enterprise that will use radius server here. And so the authentication server IP address is 172.16.200.200. And the server's shared key management VLAN, it doesn't allow me to configure at this time. I will configure later on. This leave it as default. So I initially set up the wireless controllers management IP address 172.16.200.100, and the subnet mask default gateway VLAN is 200 VLAN 200. All done. Apply. After applying, the controller IP address changed from 192.168.1.1 to 172.16.200.100. So I have to change the PC's IP to the same VLAN 200 subnetwork. So I'm going to go to PC, change the IP address. Default gateway is here. Change the IP address from 192 to 172.16.200. That is the subnet associated with VLAN 200. Okay, so PC is all set. And it should be ready now. So I can close this browser and go to the PC's command line prompt. Just double check. The IP address has been changed to VLAN 200. Good. Now I need to verify the connectivity. Ping the controller 200.100. Okay, I tried to ping from PC to the controller after initially configured the controller. The controller IP address changed from 192.168.1.1 to 172.16.200.100. It wasn't successful because the op table had the wrong MAC address for the controller. So I had to delete the op table entirely, and then the ping is successful. Now I should be able to connect to the controller using the new IP address. Let's try it. After initially configured the controller, I have to use the HTTPS to connect. Good. Success. Good. Connected. Now I needed to create two wireless LANs. One for instructor, that is wireless VLAN 10, and the second is for guest, VLAN 20. So instructor VLAN already created when I did the initial configuration. Let me just create the second one, create a new one for guest. The profile name is guest, SSID, guest. The ID is second LAN, apply. Okay. Then for this guest, enable it. And the interface I need to create later on under controller. So just leave it. I will come back to fix it. Security. The guest is using WPA2 and WPA2 using pre-shared key. The key is test And that's it for security. And go to advanced, just enable the flags connect. That's all. Go to interface. Management interface is the wireless controller. Management IP 200.100. The VLAN belongs to 200 VLAN. Let's create another 2 interfaces for the wireless VLANs. So new interface name for instructor. The VLAN ID is 10. Instructor VLAN 10. Apply. So the port will be using G1. So port 1. VLAN 10. IP address 10.2. 255.0. Default gateway 172.16.10.1. Primary DHCP server 200.200. That is the DHCP server. That's it. Apply. This interface is for guest VLAN 20. It's for this guest VLAN 20. And we're going to give IP address 172.16.20.2, and the port is still using the port 1. VLAN 20. Default gateway is 172.16.20.1. DHCP server 200. Apply. Now we have 3 interfaces created. Guest VLAN 20 interface associated with guest VLAN. Instructor interface VLAN 10. This IP address 10.2 associated with instructor wireless VLAN. And the management VLAN is associated with controllers management VLAN. Okay, now we need to go back to wireless LAN, associate the wireless LAN with the respective interface we created. So wireless LAN, first one is instructor. This LAN needed to associate with instructor interface VLAN 20. So you see here interface is instructor interface, and this instructor's wireless VLAN security is using WPA2 radius server 802.1x. So the AAA server is 172.16.200.200 here. Port number 1812. all set. And also make sure flags connect is enabled. That's all. Configure the second wireless LAN for guest interface associated with guest interface. And security we already configured. So that's all. Force the DHCP, we remove the cable, plug it back again to port 1. This will request an IP address by sending a DHCP discover. After connect the lightweight access point to ALS switch 1, the access layer switch, this link is configured as trunk with the VLAN 100 as native. So this access point, as you can see, it is received IP address and also connected to the controller 172.16.200.1 and provide 2 wireless LANs, instructor and guests. This laptop 2 is connecting to instructor VLAN. If you want to see the wireless configuration, you go to the PC wireless profile, and I created this instructor profile, and it's pretty simple. Just instructor, you select the infrastructure mode, and the wireless network name is instructor. The next, obtain setting via DHCP, and security is using WPA2 Enterprise. Give the username, password, which is here instructor, and this is the wireless password, and that's it. Save it and connect, and that will connect. It is connected, so you can see you have successfully connected to the access point. The laptop is connected. Receive the IP address 172.16.10.5. And now if I test the connectivity, verify the IP address, this laptop 2 receive IP address 172.16.10.5 default gateway, and so I can ping any other host like the server 172.16.200.200. That is successful from the laptop 2 ping server. I can ping the other laptop in a different wireless VLAN, VLAN 20. So if we go to this second wireless client, we can check the IP address. IP address is 172.16.20.5. So the first laptop is 172.16.10.5. So let's ping 20.5. We are pinging from laptop 2 to laptop 1. It's successful. So all the devices can ping each other. That's all for multiple VLAN wireless network demonstration. Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please subscribe